Hello everyone, my name is Tahukan. Avengers Endgame just came out. All of you know that, but more importantly, I saw it, and today I'm going to tell you what's good, what's bad, and most importantly, if you should see it or not. Avengers Endgame is the culmination of every Marvel film since 2008. 22 movies have led to this. Some have been great, some have been not so great, but overall, Marvel's weaved an epic story. And I don't mean that in the saying way of, wow, so cool, amazing. I mean an epic in terms of scale. I think we can all agree that, love it or hate it, Marvel has done something brand new. They took film, a medium where generally sequels are spaced apart by a couple of years, and instead made 2 or more movies a year non-stop for nearly 11 years. And it paid off. They've had a historic opening box office of $1.2 billion globally. 7 years of planning has led to this, and I don't think it could have been done as well as this was. Endgame feels like Marvel took the best of everything they'd done, and they turned it up to a 10. At this point, it has come to my attention that there may or may not be cat sounds in the video. If that's the case and you hear that, I apologize, my cat can't help himself. There's a lot I'd like to talk about in regards to Endgame, but I don't want to make this video 30 minutes long, so I'm going to focus on 3 main categories: the cast, the visuals, and the story. So let's talk about the cast. Avengers Endgame stars Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Josh Brolin, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, Mark Ruffalo, Brie Larson, Denai Guerrera, Bradley Cooper, Don Cheadle, Paul Rudd, and Karen Gillian. All of them return to reprise their roles from Infinity War and other previous films in the Marvel Universe. Performances feel significantly more loose and raw than in previous films, and I don't mean loose in the bad sense that they don't really have much of a care for where the characters' emotions go. All the characters in general feel far less stuck up. It feels like these are completely different characters in a sense. In any case, there's a sense of levity granted by the way the plot develops, and everyone with the exception of Brie Larson and Denai Guerrera show a profound shift and a more mature evolution as their characters progress throughout the movie, something we generally aren't accustomed to in Marvel. As far as Marvel films go, character growth is far and in between generally, and when it isn't, it just kind of happens with no real lingering on it. Endgame feels like an ode to all of the missed opportunities Marvel had for great character-driven story arcs that they passed up for one reason or another. In particular, Paul Rudd, whose movies are literally comedies, he full-on gives one of the best performances of the whole movie once he shows up in Endgame. The range of emotion is incredibly varied. It took me aback. I was not expecting that from Marvel. There's still the telltale Marvel jokes because we have to hit a certain quota, but this time they feel a lot more organic. Friends who've been through something finding a way to cope through humor and not, let's make it funny guys, we gotta do it. It's not perfect, but it's damn near close as far as these movies go. Now, the visuals. I say visuals because this is both CGI and the way the film looks. 2 for 1. Who doesn't like that? The CGI, same as in Infinity War, is next level with my complaint last year of some of it looking fake, being completely non-existent save for 1 or 2 scenes, mostly with the Hulk. I'm not entirely sure how exactly Endgame came out looking so much better. I'm pretty sure it's the same budget, but who knows, maybe they siphoned more, or they gave the studios more time. Technically, they'd have a full extra year to refine the CGI since they were shot back to back. In particular, the CGI on the Iron Man and War Machine suits, Hulk, Thanos, and the final 2 acts have the best CGI Marvel has ever done, period. No contest, nothing surpasses it. It's standard for Marvel to make leaps and bounds over what their competitors have done in years prior, looking at you, Justice League, but Endgame, as with much of the film as a whole, is the ultimate culmination of all of that. On top of the actual CGI, this is one of, if not the best, Marvel film ever shot. To be honest, I'd need to rewatch them all to be really fair with my answer, but without a doubt, it's definitely up there. I keep saying it, but I was really impressed. I don't generally go to see a Marvel movie with great shots in it, but this one had them. And it wasn't that I wasn't expecting it that impressed me, it was the fact that it had them, and it had them often. Like, Captain Marvel had a couple, and I said that was neat to see, but Captain Marvel's delivery on it was just not fucking there. It was just lacking. It would pop up, and then it would go away. Kinda like Brie Larson's character development. Felt like every tool the directors, the Russo brothers, had in their bags came out for Endgame. They did great shots in Winter Soldier, which is another one of my favorite Marvel movies, and Infinity War also had some neat looking ones, but for the most part it felt like a more transitionary movie from the way we had known the universe to really get to Endgame. It feels like the way this movie looks, the way it feels, it'll stay with you. Maybe not in the same way something like No Country for Old Men or Hardcore Henry would stay with you, but it will nonetheless. And what will really stay with you? The story. This part will have a spoiler section. I'll have a warning before those, so don't worry, I'll tell you what point in the video to skip to. Avengers Endgame is a direct sequel to Avengers Infinity War, but it's not necessary to watch beforehand. Without spoiling anything, Endgame captures the grounded feel that the Winter Soldier brought, the wonder for the unknown of Guardians of the Galaxy had, and the emotional heart of Iron Man, which I think was the groundwork for all of these movies to begin with, even if some have strayed from that purpose. It's a mix and match bag of only the best. I don't know, maybe it's because I've more or less grown up with these characters, or maybe it's because this movie is really good. The emotions are so raw, so much more serious, where Infinity War stakes felt high but not too high because you were sure they would do something to fix it. Everything here is the last shot, and you don't know what they're going to do. You weren't expecting the ending for Infinity War. Sure, maybe you thought they'd do it, but you didn't think they'd go that far with it, and they did. Everything here is their last shot, and it hits the bullseye all the way through. Now, time for spoilers, okay? Alright, ready? Here we go. So, what is the plot of Endgame? They lose, and the Avengers try to put back together the pieces of a puzzle that's lost the shape it once had. There's some plot holes. They explain some stuff in ways that make it confusing. It took even me a while to understand what they were trying to say. The biggest I can think of is the ending, with Captain America sitting on a bench, old and tired, when he should have been back on the glass platform. As the Russos put it, he did appear beforehand, so he knew what he was doing, but it still makes it confusing for the rest of us who think, wait, are you trying to tell me Captain America has been in the past this whole time? Nope, no, you said it wasn't. Couldn't work like that. What you doing? What you doing, buddy? There's a lot this movie does a fucking great job with, though. The ending of story arcs, character deaths, Black Widow, Thanos, Tony, though I'll admit if they do make Earth-centered or even Avengers-centered movies after this, I feel like his and Black Widow's deaths will feel cheapened. They had to happen because, you know, Robert Downey Jr. wanted to leave and Black Widow because story reasons, so, you know, stories can end like that, but I'm not sure Marvel's gonna stick to their guns here, and they won't, you know, pull some shit to make it all go away, which they can't really do because it's actors. It's not a comic book where you can just write someone back in. If you bring someone back, it's gonna have a bit more of a profound impact, and you gotta do it better. No one does it better. That's the thing, though. Overall, though, it's an excellent endpoint. Regardless of what they're going to do in the future, this is an excellent end. You wouldn't think they'd be able to do it, but it's a 3-hour movie and they were able to. It's hard to really encapsulate into just words how much I loved Endgame and how good of an ending it was. There was a lot of fan service moments, but it really fit with wherever it shoved in. It doesn't strike as an odd scene, save for a couple scenes, but at the same point, there were scenes I appreciated for it, so I'm not really going to criticize fan service scenes for other people that, you know, fan service doesn't necessarily need a place, but I'm not going to criticize it when I was also fine with it in another place. It's hypocritical of me to do so. It's fantastic, despite its problems at times, and the fact that the plot literally hinges upon a rat touching a button. I'd go into more detail, but the movie is 3 hours long. I'd need a video much longer than this to give a synopsis to this movie what it deserves. So, in conclusion, Avengers Endgame is an ode to Marvel, an ode to its triumphs. For close to 11 years, we've all followed this universe, and I don't think there could have been a better ending for it. This is solid. As I said, a few plot holes, so that's worth being aware of, and if you aren't that big a fan of superhero movies, understandably, this might not be as great for you as the rating I'm gonna give it. But I think the cinematography, the acting, the soundtrack, the plot, the villains, the next level CGI, it's all deserving of it. And frankly, even if you don't like Marvel movies, I think you can at least admit this is leagues above most other superhero movies. I give Avengers Endgame a 9, more than I gave Infinity War. It's not a high 9, a low 9, but still a 9 regardless. I can name a lot more movies better than it, but I can't name nearly as many that have left me thinking on them as much as this has. So, if you've been a big fan of Marvel movies, I think you'll be very satisfied with the way this ends. If you won't be able to see it for a few months, you're gonna be happy. Also, you're gonna basically have to become Amish and avoid the internet. So, good luck. But you know what I really think a lot about, you know what really leaves an impression on my mind? My excellent merch. You can buy my merch at the link in the description. I'm demonetized because YouTube is ran by a team of illiterate monkeys with a combined IQ of a potato shoved inside of a meat grinder left there for 2 nights in Arabia. It's fucking brain dead because it never had one to begin with. So, for those of you that decide to buy merch, I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot considering I make no money off this, but I'm not gonna stop videos. I like making these. You can also individually support me continuing to torture myself with movies that are both great and horrible at my Patreon, the link for which is also in the description. If you like this video, let me know in the comments and let me know your thoughts on Endgame. My favorite part about these videos is reading your guys' thoughts. I've also made a thing called a Letterboxd. That's Letterboxd, and it's a movie review site. I'll put a link in the description, so if you want to get my early impressions so you can know for opening weekend instead of waiting for this a week after, you should still watch this. You can make an account over there for free and follow me and see what I think the moment I get out of fever. And lastly, I only stream on Twitch now, so make sure to follow me at twitch.tv/Tahukan. And, as always, I'll see you in the next video. Huge thank you to Patreon supporters Anonymous and Math Porter. I truly appreciate it.